Geekcast Rewind. Back to Megacon Live.
This is Kevin, we're at Megacon Live and we're joined by Sami, Jinxx.
Hello, thanks for having me. Good, it's been a really good day. It's a lot warmer than I thought, so I'm very glad.
I'm quite happy. I thought I've heard nothing but it was going to be raining, it's going to be this, it's going to be that all day, and luckily it's held up quite well.
Apparently 5 o'clock, just as everyone's running for that train, the heavens are going to open.
Oh, hopefully not. So yeah, who have you come cosplay this today?
I am Tifa from Final Fantasy VII. One of the best heroines ever, in my opinion.
Fair play. What was it about that character that makes you what made you want to cosplay?
So honestly, this might ruin the illusion for everyone. The pockets. She has so many pockets on her skirt. It makes life so much easier. No, I grew up playing Japanese RPGs. And Final Fantasy was obviously a key
it's
part.
Probably
of
the
that.
most Western. I say westernized. It's not really been westernized, but it's
it's
the most
so
sort
popular.
of
So I very quickly got on board with the characters from that game, and number 7 obviously flagship, huge title. And I just loved Tifa. I loved that it wasn't really about a love story or anything. She was just a badass woman with pockets on her skirt that gets the job done.
It's the ability to utilise and accessorise and be able to
exactly.
carry stuff as well.
Yes. 2 lots of pockets.
So is this your first time at Megacon, is it, or?
No, so I came to Megacon last year. Been doing conventions for quite a while now around London, Manchester, Birmingham and everything, but I just really love the kind of innocence that Megacon has. I feel like it's not been corrupted yet by the big names.
That's a big thing that I've found about Megacon. It's kind of especially when I walked in this morning, it's so much more open. And I'm on a walking stick myself because of obviously my health issues and stuff, but it's been I found it a breath of fresh air, the fact that you're not falling over each other and stuff like that. And it's not all about go meet this guest, go meet that guest. You've got guests obviously, but it's not felt like it's sold off the back of guests.
No, and it feels like it's still part about the experience and meeting people and connecting rather than just selling tickets.
I've not seen a single person who's just looked in a bad mood.
No, that's
everyone seems to be in a proper happy to be here. Obviously, I'm guessing part of that's down to the weather as well.
It is beautiful. But they've also got aircon in here. Thank you very much, Megacon. Thank you, Manchester Central, for the aircon. So.
Right. Budget not being an issue or anything like that.
Yeah.
If you could cosplay anyone, who would you pick?
Dizzy, Guilty Gear. I don't know if you've ever played Guilty Gear, the fighting game.
I recognise the name off the top of my head. I've heard of it.
It's the best
one of them
fighting
ones.
game ever. I absolutely love it. And there's a girl in it called Dizzy. She's got beautiful long blue hair, which has a big devil wing and a big angel wing. And basically,
I know where you mean now.
Blimmin'.
She
kicks everyone.
You can swear it's going on the podcast. So.
Okay. She kicks everyone's butt. And she's just awesome. So yeah, if money was no limit, I would be Dizzy. Otherwise, I'd be one of the cogs from Gears of War.
Oh, that would be sick.
Big armor suit.
As well as ones myself, I've always loved. When I cosplayed more often, I used to do Transformers and stuff like that and all that kind of thing. I used to I love that sort of that kind of build. It's not even just the fact that it's the process and everything that goes into it. It's not even just the looks you get off people and you walk in and you see you. I used to love that. That's one of my favourite things about cosplay. And what was it about cosplay in general though that made you actually want to be a part of this community?
I think if you've kind of grown up, this might be a little bit deep, but I feel like if you've grown up kind of feeling like you're not really accepted, or like you're a little bit weird, or maybe that being you isn't the norm, so you should shy away a bit, being able to become one of those comfort characters and just kind of take on the energy and the confidence that those characters have just sometimes makes life a little bit easier. I feel like it's an art form. You get to be creative, you get to take something that you love and become it in your own way, give it your own spin as well, and you get to come out and meet other people that have perhaps felt the same in their time, and here everyone is just being nice to each other and just letting each other be themselves, and it's lovely.
It's about being yourself but at the same time being other people. It's weird, isn't it? It's kind of it is weird to say out loud. It's I always smile because I'll get to be a weirdo, but everyone's like, yay, we're weirdos too. And it's boss. I love it myself. It's one of the reasons why I fell in love with cosplay to begin with. So I've always had anxiety problems myself since I was like quite young, and when I first started cosplaying, I found I was able to be accepted by a group of people, and I could hide behind the mask and stuff as well at the same time but I didn't feel like, or I could almost gain confidence in the fact I was a character rather than not specifically myself. But it was,
but
I don't know if that makes sense.
Then, doesn't it? So you can get in, you can meet people, you can make friends. So when you see them in the real world, you're like, oh, hi, and you've got a way in. Then you know that they're your people. You know.
Yeah, exactly. The amount of people, obviously we met through cosplay and Comic-Con, didn't we? So it's mad, isn't it? But yeah, it's been absolutely great to talk to you. Hopefully at some point we'll be able to have a full-on conversation. That would be brilliant.
Yeah, we should do.
My name's Dan. I'm joining right now at Megacon Live with Matt Ryan. How are we, man?
I'm great, Dan. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, not too bad. You're well known for playing John Constantine. What I'm asking everyone today is go back to the very beginning of your career. What was your first steps into the industry?
My first steps into the industry, wow, when I was younger, I actually did this show in London called Les Miserables. I played the little kid when I was like 10 years old. Yeah, and I loved it, and loved acting, but then unfortunately I went to quite a rough school, and acting wasn't a cool thing to do, you know, so I kind of stopped acting for years, and then eventually found my way back to it.
Yeah, amazing. Now, just alluded to it, played John Constantine. Tell me a little bit about how that role came about for you, because...
yeah, well, actually, I was doing a play in London, a different play, obviously, from the one when I was 10 years old, but I was doing a play in London, and I had a long hair and a big beard, and the audition came up, so I auditioned for the role, and they really liked me, but they couldn't see past the hair and the beard. So they asked me if I could cut it off, and I couldn't, because I was doing this play. So I ended up doing 13 different audition tapes. And they still liked me, but they didn't offer me the job because they couldn't see past the hair and the beard, you know. Eventually, the play finished. I jumped on a plane to Los Angeles. I cut my hair. I shaved my beard. Went into the room and eventually got the job.
You must have to have like a complete mindset change, though, going from a theatre stage to going to an audition room to the, TV show. What do you have to go through mentally to do that?
Yeah, it's a different medium, right? You know, you have to prepare differently for stage work than you do for television or film, but essentially it's all the same thing. Acting is the same thing, so you come from the same place, which is hopefully truth, and so you just prepare in the same way and then be ready to be as adaptable as possible to the situation you're given.
What's been your favourite? I know you're known for, a lot of your stuff in Arrowverse, but what's been your favourite role that for you it just meant that something a little bit more? Was it that John Constantine role?
Do you know what? John Constantine is probably the coolest role I've played, Actually, on Legends of Tomorrow, after I played John Constantine for 3 seasons, I went on to play a character called Dr. Gwyn Davis. And I've got to say that I loved him, man, because he was the opposite of John in so many ways. So as an actor, I was able to physicalize that characterization very differently to what I did with John. And he has a piece of my heart because he was so vulnerable and had so many problems and anxieties, but he was still someone who got through the day.
What drew you to that character? Was it the script or?
Well, we created that character actually, and we wanted to create a character that was almost polar opposite to John Constantine, and we give him a set of problems and conflicts that were hard for him to resolve, and we created him out of nothing. So he's kind of the birth child of mine and the writers,
I'm just cautious of time because I know you've got eager fans waiting to meet you, and I've seen you getting funny selfies with people all day. Quickly, we're at Megacon Live. What does it mean to you to have these opportunities with fans at these events like this?
It's great, man. You feel a lot of love, and hopefully I can give some love back as well. Like, as I said, I've done a lot of theatre where you have direct contact with the audience. When you do film and television or radio or animated movies, you're not in touch with the audience. So I feel like when I come to these things, you get feedback from the audience, you get to talk to them, and you get I'm lucky enough to have a lot of appreciation from the fans, and I'm very appreciative of them for following me in my work.
Any sort of work coming up that you're allowed to tell us about yet? Any plays?
Nothing that I can talk about at the moment.
Oh, just one of them, keep our eyes peeled, is it?
Yeah.
Amazing. Lovely speaking to you. Matt, have a lovely rest of the week.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it. Take care.
Take care. Thanks.
Hi, it's Kevin. We're at Megacon and we've got Lee Bradley with us. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. I've had a cup of tea, so I'm raring to go.
Proper tried English tradition there, cup of tea. It's always the way, isn't it? Obviously, you're an artist. I've met you on a few occasions at different events over the years. I've always been a massive Transformers fan, as I've just been talking off air. How did you actually get into doing some of the comic book stuff?
Oh God, that's a long story, so I'm going to try and truncate it. Basically, I used to draw stuff as a kid. Apparently I was 3 years old and I used to draw Superman or whatever. I obviously don't remember this. In the way parents are, it was probably exaggerated. It was probably a stick man with a cape. And I used to send off samples to the companies from when I was at school from about 15 years old. So I got a box of rejection letters. Back then you would send samples by post. And then they would actually write back to you. Some were basic letters. Other ones were a lot more detailed. So back in the day Marvel would send 2 to 3 page letters back, describing what you've done right, what you've done wrong. And like everybody, kind of time moves on, you get a girlfriend, you get on with life, and I was doing other things, and then one day I thought I wanted to give it a go again, so I did a search on Ask Jeeves, if you remember that search engine.
That's a flash from the past in itself,
that's
isn't
like
it?
freaking 17, 18, whatever years ago that is. And I did a search for local Midlands comic artists. And the top result came up was a guy called John McCrae. And so I sent him an email. Now, you know, this is quite random, but I sent him an email and I said, if I send you some samples of my work, can you tell me whether I should just quit? So I was looking for somebody to say, stop wasting your time, you know, get on and do something else. Because it'd been quite a few years. About a month later, I got an email back off John. And it said, randomly, he happened to be putting on a course to find young Midlands comic artists through a charity called Hiatus. And he said if you send 4 pages of sequential artwork to the course, at the very least you'll get a review of your work. Can't guarantee you'll get on the course, but you'll get a review. And then he put at the bottom, by the way, the deadline is in 2 days, apologies. So I literally spent that night drawing 4 pages of Spider-Man cartoon strips. I remember having a box of Dunkin' Donuts and a pot of coffee at my mum and dad's dining table. Sent them special delivery the very next day. Happened to get on the course. 270 applicants and 15 spaces. I was one of the 15. Whilst I was on the course, Transformers films came out. And they released a new Transformers comic book through Titan. I was in WA Smith in my hometown, picked it up, was flicking through, saw the editor's name was Steve White. Now I remembered Steve White's name as a kid, as a colourist on Transformers. So I contacted John and I said, do you know Steve White? And he happened to know him. Random chance again. And I had an idea of doing a how to draw guide for Transformers. So we pitched it to Steve at the Transformers comic and he liked the idea. So that became my first published work. So it was co-credited, me and John McCrae. John dropped off after about the 2nd issue and I carried on drawing it. And as per the way this industry works, I've then got contact with the editor. So I keep sending samples and then I get inking work on Transformers, so I'm doing a how to draw guide. And then I'm inking the actual strips as well. Yeah. That led on to penciling and inking some of the strips. And then that led on to the Transformers animated comic. So I did half of those with John McCrae. So he penciled and inked some issues, I penciled and inked the others. And you know, years later I've coloured Spider-Man, inked artwork, penciled this, that and the other, done storyboards, and 17 years just disappears in the blink of an eye. But a lot of it is random chance. If I hadn't have used Ask Jeeves out of all the engines, if I hadn't have typed in the way I typed it in, if I hadn't have sent an email to John's address, if I hadn't have read the email in time, because I'm terrible at checking.
As you said, it was only 2 days till it was due in, wasn't it? So
if I hadn't have forced myself to just do it and send it off, if I hadn't have been in WA Smith's and picked up the comic book and flicked through, so many, it just shows you you should never give up in whatever situation in life, because you never know what's around the corner. You just don't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Out of every character you've had the opportunity to draw, what's been like your ultimate? Who's your favourite one to draw?
My favourite character to draw is whatever I haven't drawn last, because I get sick of them. But at the time, getting a script from Simon Furman and it being Transformers. I used to read his stuff as a kid, and then actually it sounds daft, but just the first time I saw my work in print, and it was Optimus Prime, and my name's there. I think that was just kind of like, it's a goosebump moment.
Yeah, that buzz you get, I can imagine.
No, as you can see, I'm like sketching him now because I can't get him out of my blood. It's terrible.
Well, it's a Lola one, shall we say? That's absolutely great. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you.